The unexpected. Discovery Captain. Marcus Reed never expected his routine salvage mission to the abandoned research station Omega-7 would change everything he thought he knew about himself. The station had been dark for 3 years, floating like a metal ghost in the void between star systems. His ship, the Defiant, had picked up strange energy readings from the supposedly dead facility. "Captain, we're getting some weird biosignatures from the medical bay," reported his engineer, Tommy Vasquez, his voice crackling through the comm system. "Looks like someone's been keeping the life support running in that section." Marcus adjusted his helmet and checked his weapon one more time. Space salvage was dangerous work, and abandoned stations often harbored pirates or worse. "Stay sharp. Team, we don't know what we're walking into." The airlock hissed open, revealing corridors that should have been freezing and airless. Instead, they were warm and breathable. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows on the walls, and somewhere in the distance, he could hear the soft hum of active machinery. Dr. Elizabeth Kane, the team's medic, scanned the atmosphere with her tricorder. "Air's clean, but there's definitely someone here. These readings show at least 12 life forms. And they're not human." They moved carefully through the station, following the energy signatures toward the medical bay. The closer they got, the stranger things became. The walls showed signs of recent repairs, but the metalwork was unlike anything Marcus had seen. It looked almost grown rather than welded. When they reached the medical bay, Marcus felt his blood turn to ice. Through the reinforced window, he could see them. Tall, elegant beings with pale blue skin and silver hair that seemed to shimmer in the light. They moved with fluid grace around what looked like medical equipment, but their technology was clearly far beyond human capabilities. "Aliens?" whispered Jake Morrison, the youngest member of their crew. "Actual aliens?" Before Marcus could respond, one of the beings looked directly at him through the window. Her eyes were large and violet, with an intelligence that seemed to pierce right through him. She raised one slender hand, and suddenly the blast doors opened with a soft pneumatic hiss. The alien queen stepped forward, and Marcus noticed she was holding something wrapped in a soft glowing cloth. When she spoke, her voice was like music, but somehow he understood every word, despite never hearing her language before. "Human," she said, her voice filled with wonder and something that might have been relief. "You have finally come." Marcus kept his weapon lowered but ready. "Who are you? What are you doing on this station?" The alien queen smiled, and it transformed her entire face. "I am Queen Zylara of the Ethereal Collective. We have been waiting for you, Marcus Reed." "How do you know my name?" Instead of answering, she carefully unwrapped the bundle in her arms. Inside was a baby, clearly not human, but not entirely alien either. The child had her mother's silver hair, but distinctly human features around the eyes and mouth. This baby has my DNA! Queen Zylara gasped, her voice filled with amazement as she looked at the child, then back at Marcus. "But it also has yours. You're the father I've been searching for." Marcus staggered backward. "That's impossible. I've never even met your species before." But even as he spoke the words, something deep in his memory stirred. Dreams he'd been having for months. Flashes of blue light and silver hair. A voice calling to him across the void. The baby opened its eyes and looked directly at him, and Marcus felt his world shift forever. Memories in the void. Marcus stared at the child in Queen Zylara's arms, his mind reeling. The baby's eyes were unmistakably familiar. The same deep brown as his own, but with flecks of violet that seemed to shift and dance in the light. "This has to be some kind of mistake," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. Deep down, something was stirring. Memories that felt like dreams, or dreams that felt like memories. Queen Zylara stepped closer, and her retinue of ethereal beings formed a protective circle around them. "There is no mistake, Marcus Reed. Do you not remember the Nexus event 18 months ago?" The words hit him like a physical blow. The Nexus event. He'd been on a deep space exploration mission, testing new, faster-than-light communication arrays. There had been an accident, a malfunction that had torn a hole in space-time itself. For 3 days, he'd been missing, presumed dead. "I remember the accident," he said slowly. "I remember being lost in some kind of dimensional rift. But everything after that is just fragments, dreams, not dreams," Xylara said gently. "Memories that were separated from your consciousness to protect both our species. The dimensional barriers between our realms are not meant to be crossed by beings of flesh and blood. When you fell through, you were dying." Dr. Kane stepped forward, her medical scanner in hand. "Captain, I'm reading some unusual quantum signatures in your neural patterns. It's like parts of your brain are operating on different dimensional frequencies." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "What are you saying?" "I saved you," Xylara continued. "But the process of healing you, of keeping you alive in our dimension, required a deep connection. We shared essence, consciousness, life force itself. It was the only way to stabilize your human biology in our realm." Jake Morrison, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. "Captain, are you saying you were in another dimension for 3 days? How is that even possible?" "Time flows differently in the ethereal realm," one of Xylara's advisors explained. "Your 3 days were nearly a full cycle for us, long enough for connections to form that transcend normal biological limitations." Marcus closed his eyes, and suddenly the memories came flooding back. Not human memories, but something deeper. He remembered floating in a sea of silver light, his body broken and dying. He remembered Xylara's face appearing before him like an angel, her hands glowing, with healing energy. "You brought me back," he whispered. "We brought each other back," she corrected. "The process changed us both. I gained human emotions, human dreams, human longing. You gained the ability to bridge dimensions with your consciousness, and together, we created something new." She looked down at the baby in her arms. "She is not just a child. She is a bridge between our species, a living proof that the barriers between dimensions can be crossed with love rather than conquest." Tommy Vasquez's voice crackled through the comm system. "Captain, we're picking up massive energy signatures, approaching the station. Multiple ships, configuration unknown." Marcus felt his protective instincts surge. "How many?" "At least 20, sir. They're not broadcasting any identification signals." Queen Xylara's expression grew worried. "The Void Hunters. They have found us." "Who are the Void Hunters?" Dr. Kane asked. "A faction of our people who believe that mixing dimensions is an abomination," Xylara explained. "They have been hunting us since they learned of our child's existence. They will stop at nothing to prevent her from growing up." Marcus looked at the baby again, and something fierce and protective awakened in his chest. Whatever else was true, whatever impossible circumstances had led to this moment, he could feel the connection to this child. She was his daughter, and he would protect her with his life. "Then we need to get out of here," he said. "Tommy, prep the Defiant for immediate departure. Full power to engines." "Already on it, Captain." Marcus turned to Queen Xylara. "Can your people fight?" She smiled, and for the first time, he saw something dangerous in her violet eyes. "We are not warriors by nature, but we are not defenseless. Our ships may surprise you." Through the station's viewports, Marcus could see the approaching vessels. They were sleek and deadly, moving with the fluid grace of predators. But beyond them, other ships were emerging from dimensional rifts, ships that seemed to be made of crystallized starlight. "The real question," Xylara said, "is whether you're ready to learn what your daughter truly is." The child of two worlds. The battle erupted around the station like a storm of light and fury. Marcus had seen space combat before, but nothing like this. The Void Hunters' ships moved like living things, their weapons firing beams of pure darkness that seemed to devour light itself. But the ethereal collective's vessels were equally impressive, their crystalline hulls refracting energy attacks and returning them threefold. "Captain," Tommy called from the engine room, "the Defiant systems are going crazy. All our readings are off the charts." Marcus looked at the baby in Queen Zalara's arms. The child had begun to glow with a soft, pulsing light that seemed to synchronize with the energy weapons firing outside. "It's her, isn't it? She's affecting our technology." "She is awakening," Zylara said, her voice filled with both pride and concern. "The stress of the battle is triggering her abilities early. She was not supposed to manifest these powers for several more years." Dr. Kane was scanning the baby with her medical equipment, her eyes wide with amazement. "Captain, I'm reading energy patterns that shouldn't be possible. She's somehow interfacing with both our ship's systems and the alien vessels simultaneously." Jake Morrison was monitoring the tactical display. "The Void Hunters are breaking through the defensive line. 3 of their ships are heading straight for us." Marcus made a decision that surprised even himself. "Zylara, can you pilot one of your ships?" "Of course. But why?" "Because I'm going to do something incredibly stupid and heroic, and I need someone I trust watching my back." He turned to his crew. "Tommy, transfer all power to the Defiant's main engines. Kane, get to the medical bay and prep it for emergency. Procedures. Jake, you're with me on the bridge." "Captain, what are you planning?" Dr. Kane asked. Marcus looked at his daughter again. She was still glowing, and now he could feel something responding in his own consciousness. The dimensional bridge that Zylara had mentioned was activating, and he could sense the vast network of connections spreading out from the child. "She's not just a bridge between dimensions," he realized. "She's a living communication array. She can connect minds across impossible distances." "Yes," Zylara said. "But she is still just a baby. The power could destroy her if she tries to use it too early. Then we'll have to protect her while she learns to control it." The station shuddered as the Void Hunter's weapons began tearing through the outer hull. Marcus felt the baby's presence in his mind, and through her he could sense the minds of every being in the battle. The Void Hunters were filled with religious fervor, convinced that the child was an abomination that would corrupt both species. But among the ethereal collective, he sensed hope and determination. "I can feel them," he said in wonder. "All of them." "The connection works both ways," Zylara explained. "Through her, you can understand any mind, any consciousness. It is the ultimate evolution of communication." Suddenly, the baby's glow intensified, and Marcus felt a surge of power unlike anything he'd ever experienced. The Defiant's systems came fully online, but more than that, he could feel the ship itself responding to his thoughts. The engines roared to life with impossible efficiency, and the weapons systems targeted the Void Hunter ships with supernatural accuracy. "Impossible," Jake breathed. "Our targeting computers are hitting every shot. It's like the ship knows what the enemy is going to do before they do it." "She's giving us the advantage," Marcus realized. "She can read their intentions through their technology." The tide of battle began to turn. With the child's abilities enhancing both the human and ethereal ships, the Void Hunters found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Their dark energy weapons, so effective against conventional defenses, seemed to have no effect on ships that could predict and counter their attacks. But the effort was taking its toll. The baby's glow was becoming unstable, flickering between brilliant white and deep purple. Marcus could feel her consciousness struggling with the vast network of connections she was maintaining. "She's overloading," Zylara said urgently. "If she continues at this rate, the feedback could damage her developing neural pathways permanently." Marcus felt a surge of parental protectiveness that surprised him with its intensity. "Then we end this now." He opened his mind completely to the dimensional bridge, feeling the child's power flow through him. For a moment, he was connected to every consciousness in the battle, human and alien alike. He could feel the Void Hunter's fear and fanaticism, the ethereal collective's desperate hope, and his own crew's loyalty and determination. "Attention, all Void Hunter vessels," he broadcast, his voice carrying across all frequencies simultaneously. "This is Captain Marcus Reed, of the Earth vessel. Defiant! The child you're trying to destroy is my daughter, and I will not let you harm her." The response was immediate and violent. Every Void Hunter ship focused their fire on the Defiant, but Marcus was ready. With his daughter's power flowing through him, he could see their attacks coming seconds before they fired. The Defiant danced between the dark energy beams like a leaf in the wind, impossibly graceful for such a large vessel. "Now do you understand?" he said, his voice carrying across the dimensional bridge to every mind in the battle. "This is what she represents. Not corruption, but evolution. Not destruction, but the possibility of perfect understanding between all conscious beings." The baby's glow suddenly stabilized, and Marcus felt her settle into a peaceful sleep in her mother's arms. The battle was over, but he had a feeling that their real journey was just beginning. The price of power. 3 weeks after the battle at Omega 7, Marcus found himself in a place he'd never expected to be. The diplomatic quarters of an ethereal collective mothership, trying to figure out how to be a father to a child who could read minds across dimensions. "She's not sleeping," he said to Queen Zalara, who was reviewing reports from the Ethereal High Council. "Every time I try to put her down, she starts glowing, and I can feel her reaching out to every consciousness within a 1,000-kilometer radius." Zalara looked up from her crystalline data pad, her violet eyes showing the strain of the past few weeks. She is trying to understand her place in the universe. For her, every mind she touches is a new book to read, a new song to learn. "But she's exhausting herself," Marcus said, gently rocking the baby in his arms. "And she's exhausting me too. When she's active, I can feel everything she feels. It's like having 1,000 conversations at once." Dr. Kane entered the quarters, her medical bag in hand. "How are the headaches today, Captain?" "Better, but still there. It's like having a radio in my head that's stuck between stations." Kane ran her scanner over both Marcus and the baby. "The quantum entanglement between your neural patterns is stabilizing, but it's still causing some interference. Your brain is adapting to process information on multiple dimensional frequencies." Jake Morrison appeared in the doorway, looking excited. "Captain, you need to see this. The ethereal engineers have been working with Tommy on the Defiant systems, and they've made some incredible breakthroughs." Marcus carefully handed the baby to Zalara and followed Jake to the observation deck. Through the transparent walls, he could see the Defiant floating alongside the ethereal mothership. But it looked different. The hull was covered in a network of crystalline growths that pulsed with soft light. "What did they do to my ship?" Marcus asked. "They enhanced it." Tommy's voice came through the comm system. "The crystal network interfaces with the baby's abilities. When she's on board, the Defiant becomes something between a ship and a living entity. We can communicate with other vessels instantly across any distance, navigate through dimensional barriers, and the weapon systems can target multiple enemies across different planes of existence." "Incredible," Dr. Kane breathed. "She's not just bridging dimensions, she's creating a new form of technology that merges consciousness with machinery." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. "What's the cost?" "There's always a cost." Zalara appeared beside him, the baby peaceful in her arms. "The cost is that she will never be able to live a normal life. The Void Hunters were just the beginning. There are forces in the universe that will either try to use her power or destroy it. And there's something else," Jake added quietly. "We've been monitoring communications from Earth. Word is spreading about what happened here. Governments, corporations, military organizations, they all want to study her." Marcus felt that familiar surge of protective anger. "Nobody's studying my daughter." "That may not be your choice," Zylara said sadly. "The High Council has been debating what to do. Some believe she should be raised in the ethereal realm, protected from those who would exploit her. Others think she should be hidden entirely, her existence kept secret until she's old enough to protect herself." "And what do you think?" Zylara looked down at the sleeping child. "I think she should be allowed to choose her own path. But first, she needs to learn to control her abilities. The power she wielded during the battle was instinctive, uncontrolled. If she continues to grow without proper training, she could accidentally tear holes in reality itself." Marcus felt the weight of impossible responsibility settling on his shoulders. "So, what do we do?" "We teach her," Zylara said simply. "Both of us together. She needs to understand both sides of her heritage, the human drive for exploration and discovery, and the ethereal wisdom of dimensional harmony." The baby stirred in her arms, and suddenly Marcus felt her consciousness brush against his. For a moment, he saw the universe through her eyes, infinite possibilities stretching out in all directions, every mind a bright star in the darkness, every emotion a color in an endless spectrum. "She's not just our daughter," he realized. "She's the next step in evolution for both our species." "Yes," Zylara agreed, "but evolution is never without risk. The question is whether we're brave enough to help her become what she's meant to be." Through the observation deck's windows, Marcus could see ships from dozens of different species gathering around the ethereal mothership. Word of the child's existence was spreading, and soon they would have to make a decision that would affect the future of the galaxy. "Then we'd better get started," he said, reaching out to take his daughter's tiny hand. "I have a feeling we don't have much time." As if responding to his words, the baby opened her eyes and smiled. For a moment, Marcus felt every consciousness on every ship in the fleet connected in perfect harmony. It was beautiful and terrifying and absolutely impossible to ignore. The universe had changed, and there was no going back. The bridge between worlds. 6 months later, Marcus stood on the bridge of the Defiant, watching as his daughter played with what looked like a ball of condensed starlight. At barely a year old, she was already demonstrating abilities that defied every law of physics he'd ever learned. "Daddy, look," she said, her first word spoken in perfect harmony across 3 different dimensional frequencies. The ball of light in her hands transformed into a miniature galaxy, complete with spinning stars and tiny planets. "That's amazing, sweetheart," Marcus said, trying to hide his concern. Her powers were growing exponentially, and neither he nor Zylara fully understood their extent. Dr. Kane approached with her daily scan results. "Captain, her neural development is accelerating. She's processing information at rates that should be impossible for human brain tissue. But she's not just human," Zylara reminded them, entering the bridge with a group of ethereal scientists. "The dimensional bridge she creates allows her consciousness to exist in multiple realities simultaneously. She's not bound by the limitations of any single species." Tommy's voice crackled through the comm system. "Captain, we're receiving transmission from Earth. Priority 1 encryption." Marcus felt his stomach drop. They'd been avoiding Earth for months, knowing that the attention would be dangerous for his daughter. "Put it through." The view screen filled with the image of Admiral Harrison Chen, Marcus's former commanding officer. "Marcus, I need you to return to Earth immediately. We have a situation." "What kind of situation?" "The kind that requires someone who can communicate with alien species instantly across impossible distances," Chen said grimly. "We've got first contact scenarios developing on 12 different worlds simultaneously. Something's happening out there, and normal diplomatic channels aren't fast enough." Marcus looked at his daughter, who had abandoned her star toy and was now staring at the view screen with intense concentration. "Admiral, I don't think bringing her to Earth is a good idea. It's not a request, Captain. The President himself has authorized this mission. Daddy, his daughter said suddenly, the man on the screen is scared. He's trying to hide it, but he's very scared. Admiral Chen's eyes widened. Did she just... She can read emotions through electronic transmissions, Marcus explained. Among other things. Then you understand why we need her, Chen said urgently. Marcus, we're facing the possibility of a galactic war. 3 different alien factions are positioning for conflict, and Earth is caught in the middle. We need someone who can establish communication before the shooting starts. Zylara stepped forward. And if we refuse, then Earth will likely be destroyed in the crossfire, Chen said bluntly. We're not asking her to fight. We're asking her to do what she was born to do, build bridges between minds. Marcus felt the weight of the decision crushing down on him. Keep his daughter safe or risk her life to save billions of others. It wasn't really a choice at all. Daddy, his daughter said, tugging at his sleeve, the scared people need help. I can help them talk to each other. Sweetheart, it's dangerous. She looked up at him with eyes far too wise for her age. I know. But that's what bridges are for, to help people cross dangerous places safely. Marcus knelt down to her level. Are you sure you want to do this? She nodded seriously. I can feel them all out there. So many minds, all afraid of each other because they don't understand. I can help them understand. Zylara placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. I will go with you, both of you. If she's going to risk herself for others, she shouldn't have to do it alone. Marcus stood up and faced the view screen. Admiral, we'll come to Earth, but we do this on our terms. No experiments, no military protocols, and no treating her like a weapon. Agreed, Chen said quickly. Just get here as soon as possible. We may already be out of time. The transmission ended, and Marcus felt his daughter's consciousness brush against his. Through her eyes, he could see the vast network of minds spreading across the galaxy, human, ethereal, and dozens of other species he'd never encountered. Most of them were afraid, angry, or confused, but all of them were alive, thinking, feeling beings who deserved a chance at understanding each other. All right, everyone, Marcus announced to his crew. Set course for Earth. We're going home. Daddy, his daughter said as the Defiant began to move, the crystalline enhancements on its hull glowing brighter. What if I can't do it? What if I'm not strong enough to help everyone understand? Marcus picked her up, feeling the warm pulse of her power flowing through him. Then we'll figure it out together. That's what families do. As they jumped to hyperspace, Marcus realized that their journey was just beginning. His daughter wasn't just the bridge between 2 species. She was the bridge between all conscious beings in the galaxy. The weight of that responsibility was enormous. But so was the potential for a future where war and misunderstanding could be replaced by genuine communication and cooperation. The universe was vast and full of wonders, but the most amazing thing in it was sleeping peacefully in his arms, dreaming of a galaxy where every mind could touch every other mind in perfect harmony. It was a beautiful dream, and Marcus was determined to help make it reality.